One of my favorite books of the Bible is the book of James. It's packed with application. I wanted to share with you some verses, and hopefully it will encourage you. James 1:2-8. Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. And perseverance must finish its work in order to be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him. But when he asks, he must believe and not doubt. For he who doubts is like the waves of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That man should not think he will receive anything from the Lord. He is double-minded, unstable in all he does. I love that verse because the dichotomy there is that we're to consider it pure joy whenever we face trials. Peter reminds us to not be surprised at the painful trial you're suffering as though something strange was happening to you. So James confirms that, saying, consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds, because the testing of your faith develops perseverance. James 1:12 says, blessed is the man who perseveres under trial, because when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. So that word that he uses for perseveres is hupomeno. And hupomeno is to remain under with an expectant joy. It's not a grin and bear it, but it's to endure with joy. He says, blessed is the man who perseveres under trials, because when, not if, but when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. James 4:7 and 4:8. 4:7 says, submit yourselves then to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. So that promise says we must first submit ourselves to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from us. That's a promise. 4:8 says, come near to God, and he will come near to you. That's a promise. So for us to draw near to God, he will draw near to us. That's a promise. James 4:7 and 8. And the last verse is James 1:22-25. He says, do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like a man who looks at his face in the mirror and turns away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But the man who looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom continues to do this, not forgetting what he has heard, but doing it. He will be blessed in what he does. I love that James uses the analogy of a mirror. We use the mirror every single day before we go off and go to work. But who looks at himself and forgets what he looks like? James is imploring us to look intently into the perfect law. That is, reading it, studying it, meditating on it, obeying it, internalizing it. You will be blessed in what you do. That's a promise. So there's just a couple of the verses in James that have just completely transformed my life, and hopefully they've had an impact in yours as well.